Hi, it's Lonnie with Crafty Traveler. Today I'm going to show you how to make Christmas ornaments with scraps. First, I'd like to show you this quilt on the wall behind me. It's made from a sarong that I bought in Hawaii a number of years ago. I used cotton for the borders, the batting, and the back, and I used cotton thread to machine quilt it. The sarong is actually made of rayon, and I don't wear them anymore, so I made a quilt and put it on the wall. Do you like it? Okay, first of all, I'd like to go over some of the tools that you're going to need to make these ornaments. I drew my patterns from cookie cutters, Christmas cookie cutters. I bought this set years ago at Rite Aid, and there's like 10 different cookie cutters in it. And I took the cookie cutters and I drew them on a piece of paper so I would have a pattern. And then, of course, you're going to need strips. Lots of strips to cut these. And of course you'll need some scissors. I also like my little thread clippers and thread. Now I have gold thread in my bobbin to give it a little bit more flash on the back. I'm using regular cotton thread for the top, and you could use whatever color you want. I happen to be using the neutral color of beige. You'll also need some ribbons to sew onto the ornament so you can hang it on your tree. I cut my ribbons about 6-7 inches long. You don't want them too long, but you want them long enough that you can sew them on without them slipping away. Okay, to make the ornament, first you're going to need some backing fabric and a big enough piece to cover the batting that'll be inside, and enough strips to cover it. And I like to lay out my strips to make sure that they're going to be enough, and I'll overlap them at least a ½ inch just to test to make sure I have enough strips and the order that I might like them in on the piece. And then it would be good to lay out your pattern to make sure that you have enough room, that the pattern is going to fit on those pieces. The next step would be to take the first two fabrics that you want and put them down on the batting with the first piece facing up and the second piece facing down. And then you're going to stitch at least a ¼ inch. It could be more, and it doesn't even need to be too straight. And then you open it up and finger press. Make sure everything's lined up. Take your next fabric strip, and again lay them out right sides together and stitch that. Open it again, finger press it down, take the next fabric piece and line it up right sides together. Open it, finger press again, take your next piece, right sides together, Finger press it down, and you might want to check to see if the pattern is going to fit on there, and it looks like I've got to put another little piece of fabric on there. So let's do this one. Once you've sewn all the strips and you want to place your pattern on there to make sure that it will fit, then it's a good idea to press it with the iron. Then you place your pattern piece down and pin it. And cut it out. And then when you unpin it, you'll see that you have the makings of the ornament. Now, what I to do next is to put a ribbon in there and to stitch around the edge. So I like to place my ribbon ends together and put them right on the batting, lifting up the top piece, putting it right on the batting, and doing a couple of stitches. Okay? Then I like to stitch around the ornament about 1/4 of an inch, and it's good to have your needle down so you can turn with the needle down, makes it easier. And then, of course, trim off the little threads. And there's the first ornament. And you can do them with any ornament you want, any pattern you want. So I have the back has these candy canes, and the front has these strips. I also cut up strips to make a tree, and I wanted the top to be gold to simulate a star, and the bottom to have wood to simulate for the bark. And so then I'm going to do the same thing, place my ribbons inside on the batting, go back and forth a couple times, and then stitch around about 1/4 of an inch. Sure helps to have that needle stop down so that you can get around the corners. Now with a Christmas tree like this, you might want to use green top thread. I'm just using my neutral colored thread, but I still have the gold in the bobbin. It's difficult for me to use metallic in the top. It seems to break a lot. Maybe using, if you have a different sewing machine, it might be easier. So there's a little Christmas tree and the back. Now what if you don't want to go through and make all these strips, cut and make them? You can do it with just 2 pieces of fabric. So this is going to be a little snowflake, and I'll show you how to do that. You can make an ornament with just a front and a back piece with batting in the middle. And this is a little snowflake pattern, so I'm just going to pin that on and cut the pattern out. I've cut the pattern out. I'll take the pattern off, and that's what it looks like on both sides. And then I take my ribbon and place it, just flip up one side of the fabric and again place it on the batting and sew it forward and backward. And then I'm going to sew all around the snowflake. Trim the threads, and there you have a little snowflake. Now if you wanted to put a little more effort into it, you could zigzag all around these, but I don't think the raw edges are going to make any difference. It's not going to be washed. It's just going to hang on the tree. Maybe for some of the ornaments like the tree, you might want to sew on some buttons or some rickrack, things like that. But again, this is just the simplest version of these ornaments. Well, I hope you liked my video about how to make these scrappy ornaments using cookie cutters as patterns. If you liked my video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and click on the little notification bell. And when you do click on the bell, there'll be a drop down and it will say all videos. That way you'll get a notification when I make future videos. And also leave me a comment about how you liked this video and what you might want to see me video in the future. This is Lonnie with Crafty Traveler. Happy holidays and stay crafty!